about them Irish?
I can't take it anymore. I need a national championship.
This is the Four Horsemen Podcast.
I can hear you erasing. Are you done? That's all. Keep going.
Electric. The fact that was recorded too, that's an outtake for sure.
Well, let's not even clap us in. That was the intro. So welcome to the Four Horsemen Podcast. It's good to see you guys. It's good to be back. Guys, you know what me and Notre Dame had in common? We both beat off Hogs last weekend.
Cranking.
A thrashing, boys. A thrashing. Better than I expected. 56-13 for the Irish. We covered about 3 times over, if not 10 times over. Just an absolute disgusting game. Tim, Steve, I'm just gonna kick it to you first because nothing but enjoying this episode, guys. It's been a rough few weeks. Now we get to enjoy it.
It has been. And he's done it again, folks. He has done it again. CJ Carr, the chosen one. The freshman phenom has already had his name whispered in the lore of Notre Dame football, and he just put on another masterclass. Over 350 yards through the air, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, 88 QBR, which we'll cover that a little bit more in the podcast today. On the road, SEC opponent. Yeah, it's Arkansas, but they are a frisky team with a heck of a quarterback and a team that could put up some good fight. They had just brought it down to the wire against Ole Miss the week before, but not this week. This week was a dismantling, a demolition, a performance so brutal and thorough that Arkansas did not just lose the game, they lost their entire coaching staff. Notre Dame broke them. CJ Carr is a real one. He's not just good, he is generational. Every throw, every read, every check down, every snap this past weekend had destiny written all over it. And he wasn't alone out there. The offensive line, those hog mollies, opened up lanes like it was parting the Red Sea to have the 2-headed running back monster of Jadarian Price and Jeremiah Love dancing through those gaps like artists with a paintbrush, painting their masterpiece in Razorback Stadium. This was not just a win, it was a statement, a declaration to the rest of college football that Notre Dame, not only did they never left, but they are here to stay, and they're playing for January. It was a hell of a game, boys. It felt good. Once again, I love coming on this podcast and saying that things feel good. And this was an absolute ass kicking. Loved every second of it. Tim, you were boots on the ground, good sir. So if you could give us a quick rundown of what you experienced, sights, sounds, tastes, everything else in between.
Yes, I wanted to reiterate, I also, too, love coming on this podcast after a cranking hog like we did this week. Fantastic showing by Notre Dame. And it was, all in all, a great week. So this is the one thing I want to give advice to anyone that goes to an away game. Make a trip out of it. Go with friends. Unless it's right down the street from you, go with friends. Don't just go for, like, the day. Have some fun. So what we did, I left on Tuesday from South Bend to go to Vietnam, if you will. Stopped in St. Louis on the way there. And then I went to this restaurant called Carmine's, a steak place not related to the one in New York City. I think this one was actually better. It was the best steak I ever had in my life at a restaurant, and some random dude at the bar paid for it. Didn't want anything in return. I offered sexual favors. He said no. It was just it's a nice man. So then after that, got to the lake house on Wednesday at Beaver Lake, northwest of the stadium. around 4 p.m. Also, the way that this lake house is in any off-road in this area, it's gravel and wild. Like the roads that I lived in West Virginia were nothing compared to this. I blew by the house the first time, and I drove right through the middle of a deer farm. Didn't know that was a thing, but it's there. So then shortly after we got to the house, my boy Toothpick showed up. We were just kind of walking around the house, getting like, where do we want to set up the tent? Where do we want to set up the cornhole? Where do we want to do this, that? And I walk over to the other side of the house where like it's the personal side. I was like, oh, they have a little deck up here. I walked up there. Oh, cool. We have a second grill if we need it. That might come in handy. And I was like, I wonder if this is their part of the house or ours. And I opened the sliding glass door, and the alarm went off immediately. So the first thing I did as a black man going into Arkansas was a B&E. Go me. It's a way to live up to that stereotype. So called the owner, said, sorry, dude, set off the alarm. He was like, oh, forgot to lock it. I'm like, clearly, yes. So, house is awesome, though. It's like, had like more than 14 beds. Like, place was an absolute bunkhouse. Dr. Abby, her husband Q, Irish JTL showed up. We ordered pizza that night. That delivery guy also got lost on the way there at night. That was fun. Thursday, we rented a boat, and they got like 7 to 14 inches of rain like the previous 7 days. So the lake was just a mud pile of, it looked like the toilet after you drank a fifth of Jameson the next morning. It was gross. So we got the boat, drove through a lot of that, hit like probably no less than 50 logs of driftwood. We went to the north part of the lake, which was way nicer, way clearer, and the reason why was because we wanted to get dinner up there or lunch up there because there was restaurants on the water, and they said they were open Monday through Friday from noon to 4. We got there at noon, and they were not open because they were closed for the season, and that was in the fine print underneath their hours. So we just drove 2 hours north to starve and did not get anything. We went back to, found another one. Nothing there either. We did meet a dog at the resort. By the way, if you're ever in the South, it's a little bit of a culture shock. If you're civilized, these people just leave their dogs out, and they're fine. It's fine. Like, the dogs just kind of roam, like, around the property, and they end like cats almost, like outdoor cats. They're almost like hunting dogs. Like, they're just out there all the time. Just expect to see that if you're there. Because Dr. Abby wanted to keep this thing, and I told her to fuck off. So then we went back to the south, chilling the boat in between stops, just pounding some beers, had some fun, cooked some bacon wrapped scallops that night because we missed out on the food, ate a bag of chips for lunch, leave that part out. We drank a lot, more people showed up. Friday, everyone else showed up. We smoked some pork, some baby back ribs. Abby did this genius thing. She refried the leftover pizza into little pizza bites. That was delicious. Highly recommend. Played some cornhole, drank all day, played the longest game of ladder golf of all time, longer than this little recap of the trip I said it would take 2 minutes. Took us 2 hours to start a fire that we immediately abandoned because the FSU game came on, and that was pretty good. One thing I will tell you, if it's 11 a.m. kickoff and you're not driving there, this is the move to go to. I went to bed as drunk as possible, without being too drunk so I couldn't wake up the next morning at 6 a.m. Woke up, started pretty buzzed, did the rituals, gave you guys the omens. I think the omens were spot on. You came out of that door hyped this weekend. Kept drinking, partying, blasting my speaker at 7 a.m. with all the neighbors around us, probably wondering what the hell's going on outside. And then we weren't tailgating at the game because it's 11 a.m. kickoff, so we just ordered a party bus. Party bus shows up, picks us up, takes us to the game. H-Town Irish showed up, went with him, his family and friends. Awesome experience. Bus dropped us right off outside the stadium, and now this is where the stadium experience comes in because this was kind of cool. When you go to Razorback Stadium, you actually, where we were growing up, you go into the stadium before you go like through security and get your tickets because it's literally right on the sidewalk of the main street. Like, there's nowhere to stand outside. So we went up there, and now this is where I got annoyed. Because the first thing you do when you go into a stadium and you're 45 minutes ahead of kickoff, what do? You buy some beer. You buy some water. You get down to your seat, maybe a hot dog. We were eating pigs in the blanket on the way there. We were eating as much hog as we could this weekend. My heart hates me. Get up to our seats. Actually, while I'm ordering this beer, this dude, there's no one in line. He tries to talk to me for about 10 minutes while the line is accumulating behind me. And I'm like, I got my beer, I got my water. Do you want me to get out of the way so you can... I don't care what you have to say. And he just kept talking to me. And I was like, all right, well, I'm going to go to my seat now because that's why we're here. And, right? So, fast forward to later in the game, like 2 minutes into the game. The lines for the concession stands were ridiculously long. I assume it's because everyone wants to talk down there instead of actually just serve the food and get out of the way. But it was, my boy went to get water because it was 100 plus degrees in the sun. And it took him 45 minutes. So you have that to look forward to. If you ever go to Razorback Stadium, if you want to go to the bathroom, no line because everyone's in the concession stand lines. So you have that to look forward to too. That being said, actually 2 more things. Lou Holtz was at the game. I saw that was on the broadcast as well. What was not on the broadcast was he was wearing Arkansas gear. That's totally fine. What was really cool though was he actually called the Hogs. And if you have not seen them call the Hogs, it's just fun. They start off going, whoa, shaking their hands like they have Parkinson's, and they line it up to, oh, pigs, suey, go Razorbacks, or something like that. And it was pretty cool to see in person. Flyover was the Super Hornets. This part, everyone that enjoys this podcast will enjoy this. And if you've ever been to a Notre Dame game, you know when the Flyover boys come out to the field, we all clap, we all salute them, we all do the thing. Same thing here, except these boys, Fly Boys, Top Gun, flashed us their tits, and across their chest said Notre Dame football, and it was awesome because there was only like Notre Dame fans left in the stadium in the third quarter when they did this, so it was actually probably like a hometown kind of response. Also, they have a sign in the stadium that says Hog Blue Cola.
Sounds like a fun time, Tim.
Yeah, it was a blast.
Steve, what are your thoughts on the game?
Well, that place got real quiet real quick, I'll tell you that much. 28 unanswered points in the second quarter, closing everything out. Was it unanswered? Doesn't matter. It was 28 points, and it was 42 by halftime. And you got to see some backups get in and get some time. You got to see a couple drives from Kenny, which is nice. It's good to make sure that Kenny's going to get as much game action as possible this year. Because you want to make sure that you have depth, and you want to make sure that he's game ready. God forbid the worst case scenario were to happen, but it would be the worst case scenario because we have a legitimate Heisman contending quarterback at Notre Dame for the first time since Jimmy Clausen. Before
Brady Quinn was the last one to get votes. Ian Book finished in the top 10, but not serious.
Yeah, and it was I wasn't even sure if Clausen got the hype or not, but we traded it off. There was some scoring early on. They had 2 field goals and a touchdown. It was annoying, but also mixed within those drives, there were a couple of 3 and outs, right? So the defense was there making plays, and there was some bad drops by Arkansas, and there was Arkansas. If they were a better coach team, I think they probably tighten up some things and score an extra 14 points in that game. But I think objectively, Notre Dame was just way more superior talented, and they showed it, and they played their asses off, and they played with a fire and an intensity. So, what else is there to say? We ran all over them for over 200 yards of running, over 350 yards of passing. It was just absolute domination. And this is what I think this game potentially does, because this needs to be done sustainably, and I think USC obviously is going to be the next kind of big, the big mark for us to measure up against. But Notre Dame's offense could legitimately terrify the rest of college football to the point where we might be in the scenario from last year exactly what Ohio State was. Right? If our defense can come along and if they can develop and get back to even a top 30 defense, we don't have to be a top 5 defense like we were last year. We had to be a top 5 defense last year to compete in games because our offense was solid, but it was more of a run the ball, control the clock, control the game type of offense. Now it's complete game breakers, top to bottom. Everything is going fantastically, and things can turn in a second. There's injuries, things happen, but in the moment, you got to think that a lot of teams are really shitting themselves hoping that 10-2 Notre Dame does not get in if it does work out that way. So all optimism. I didn't really see anything that I really didn't like throughout the time. I expected Arkansas to put up some points. The fact that we held them to 13 is honestly crazy to me, and it's a great sign for the defense. And then the offense, I could probably talk for an additional 2 hours, but at the behest of everybody's ears bleeding, Dylan, you take the reins, please.
Yeah, I'll have something to follow up on that regarding the defense, but just a quick statistical breakdown of the game. We outgained them 643 yards to 367. I want you to think about that for a second. We were also up 42 to what was it?
42-13?
13. Well, yeah. At half, they had scored, nothing at half. So it was 42-13 at halftime, right? So that's ridiculous. First downs, we've over doubled them, 32 to 15. Third down, we were 60% efficient, 6 for 10. Here's something I don't like. Arkansas was 50%, just under 50%. They were 7 for 15. That's not good enough. We get better on third down than that, and it's been a problem we've had, I think, a little bit this year. Possession, this is what's crazy, Steve and Tim. 32 minutes and 47 seconds for Notre Dame to only 27 minutes and 13 seconds. That's only a gap of about 5.5 minutes, yet we doubled them in yards in the game. That is ridiculous. You're talking about efficiency in play. That's it right there. And then when you look at the passing versus the rushing breakdown, 431 passing yards for Notre Dame. A good chunk of that was on a fake punt. Some of that was Minchie. 212 rushing yards. We're only averaging 5.4. In fact, they averaged 5.5. I thought if we were going to be critical, I thought they were able to stop the run in chunks. They couldn't stop the explosive run, but they were able to stop us a few times for short gains, and I thought we struggled with their run defense a little bit. But something I put this out on Twitter, and I want to ask you guys about it. Before the game, I'd said, this is a very frustrating but exciting season for Notre Dame because we're one good defensive performance away from declaring ourselves national championship contenders, like legit contenders, and we're one bad defensive performance away from the season ending. Based on what you saw in that Based on what you saw in that game, we gave up 13 points. Where in that spectrum do you fall? Do you think we're back, like we can now declare ourselves national championship contenders, or do you think, there's still ways to go? Where did that defensive performance for you put your confidence in terms of the team going forward?
So this felt very much like last year after we lost to NIU and then we scored 66 points against Purdue, but we still felt like our offense sucked. It feels very much like that. Our defense sucks this year, and we held them, an SEC team, to 13, but it still feels like our defense did not play well this game. I could be the only one thinking that, but it felt very much the same to me. There's still a lot of problems. Results are results, so we held them to 13, but they had at least 4 drop passes. They had 3 in the first drive where they got a field goal. It's sloppy. It was sloppy. Still too sloppy for Notre Dame defense. And good news is we've got a lot of teams to figure this out with, but not very many left before we get to USC.
Steve, what's your take on it? I feel like you might disagree with them a little bit there.
I'm just going to offer the defense a little bit of grace. It doesn't mean we can't be critical of them, and they definitely needed to be better. They gave up some chunk plays, and like I said, a better coached team probably executes a little bit more and puts some more points on the board against us. So this wasn't a bit of a mirage to think that we were completely shutting them down. They were advancing the ball, but then there were drives where we were closing them out and making them go 3 and out for less than 5 yards, right? So it's hit and miss. It's bend, don't break right now instead of shut down. We're used to shut down. The bend, don't break model was, 2013 through 2017? And we're all intimately familiar with the bend, don't break defense in South Bend and how that ends up working for us historically. So would like to get back to the more shutdown model that we've had over the last couple of years here. But we'll see. So I still don't really think we really know the defense's identity. Well, I guess I think we know what their identity is. It's try to get a couple sacks here and there and try to limit the 60-yard passing plays to less than 3 per game. Very fucking cool. But hey, anytime you only give up 13 points to a hell of a talented offense like Arkansas, I think we kind of shell-shocked them a little bit, and they didn't really know what the heck was happening to them. So there was good, there was bad. We still have a couple weeks. I think USC is going to be the real. I think USC will let us know, are we national championship contention? Right now, we are absolutely playoff contention in regards to our team overall composition and even the defense. The defense could get us competitive in a playoff position. Whether or not we're playing, in the third and fourth round of the playoffs, even the second round of the playoffs, just kind of depending on how things shake out, that's yet to be seen. So I'm not going to get out ahead of a take, basically. I'm going to just be cautious and say there's still some tests on the table before we really know what we have.
Yeah, I think it's a step in the right direction. I wasn't super impressed with the defense. I thought they were good in the second half. But at that point, Arkansas had kind of given up, so I'm not going to celebrate too much. But then the counterfactual to that is, well, they scored 35 on Ole Miss. So you did hold them pretty well defensively, and you had eclipsed Ole Miss's offensive production in the first half, which gives me a lot of confidence that this team's we're gonna beat Ole Miss if we play them, because that is a substantial difference in result. Tim, I'm gonna kick it over to you to give me your, you watch these games back in pretty detail here. So what'd you see?
Yeah. So first off, I want to say I had to this time because I missed at least probably 15 minutes minimum of actual play because I was in the concession stand lines trying to find water because I was dying. I didn't see people dropping from heat stroke there, which is shocking to me. So let's just jump into it. First off, their fans were loud in person first to start the game. Obviously, not to the end of the game, but one thing I did notice about our fans is when Texas A&M came to town a few weeks ago, they were very loud, screaming every down. Our fans do not do that. We do one thing and one thing only on the road, and that's start chanting, "Let's go Irish" when things are looking good. We need to have a little more of a... Georgia was a little different because it was top 10 game, but overall, whatever. So I have the first seven drives kind of marked down with key plays and highlights. So I'll just go through it. So the first drive for Arkansas, there's a slant seam route that I thought Drake Bowen could have jumped to deflect. I don't know if you guys remember this one. It was right down the middle, right over his head. And I was up in the nosebleed, so I was like, it felt like I was watching MLB The Show, where, you're trying to jump and get a perfect game so you can get that $1 million or whatever, and your guy can't jump because they don't have a jump button in the game. It felt like there was no triangle button for Drake Bowen on this play. I watched it back on the replay. He was kind of back-footing. Not sure if you guys saw what I did. I thought he still could have, maybe gotten up there. Did you guys see that too, or do you even remember this play?
I haven't had a chance to watch everything back on replay, unfortunately. Dad life, a little bit too busy, so I don't remember unless Dylan does, but no.
Yeah, it was like the second or third play of the game. It was really early. But they just drove the field pretty easily on us on that first drive and picked up 3 points. They had 3 drops on the first drive. Not that it slowed them down at all. They still got the field. They didn't drop anything in the end zone, so they weren't scoring a touchdown. That it was very much bend, don't break to your point. Well, then we get the ball. So ND first drive. I'm going to point out the bad as much as the good because this was atrociously bad and we got bailed out here. So our first drive, it's 3rd and 7 at Arkansas's 31. Gerby Lambert, blocks the wrong guy, and the defensive end just goes blowing by him. Between him and Wagner, because Wagner's got to pick up the outside guy. And he just gets right into Carr's face and roughing the passer. So we get bailed out there. However, after Lambert missed that block, he just runs downfield for no reason because it was definitely not a screenplay, and we have an illegal man downfield. So this offensive line is getting better each week. We are still very far from perfect. Bailed out by roughing the passer, and then we end the drive with a Jeremiah Love 1-yard touchdown. One thing I want to say about these Jeremiah Love 1 yard touchdowns is that's affecting his yards per carry. So when you see, when you see he's only got like between like 4 and 7 yards per carry, it's because he's scoring these 1 yard touchdowns. Granted, he's not ripping off 40-yard runs every play, but he'll get
Just
stopped once in a
about.
while behind the line. Yeah. But these short runs, they're going to Love every time. So it's going to impact his yards per carry a little bit because you're getting that one inside the goal line, 10-yard line especially. All right, so then Arkansas' second drive. Oof. They had a swing pass, and they dropped it for 3 and out. They punt. We get the ball back. Second drive for Notre Dame. Love had an absolutely sick receiving touchdown inside the 10-yard lines where about he caught it, and then he put on an immediate spin move, an absolute move on the quarterback on this little flare route, and then just waltzes into the end zone for a touchdown. So momentum, Notre Dame, and we never gave it back. Arkansas's third drive. Actually, they got it back a little bit here. Arkansas ripped off a 20-yard run between the tackles. Not fun. And then they scored a touchdown by their lineman. That was kind of neat. You don't see that too often unless you're watching the Bama game later that night. That guy almost scored a touchdown. But right now it's 14-10 good guys. Third drive for Notre Dame. C.J. Carr and Ashton Craig, my boys, they finally did it. They got the first free play of the season. They snapped the ball while the defense was offside and jumped offside in the neutral zone. And it ended up being pass interference as well, but just they've missed this opportunity the first 3 games of the season. So now we're finally putting together, I think they're noticing this on the tape. Like, when you have a free play, snap the ball. Doesn't matter if it goes 10 yards over your head, just snap the ball. So they got it. Got a first down with pass interference, and then they threw it to Will Pauling for 23 yards on a touchdown. So now we are 21-10 good guys. Arkansas's fourth drive. 3 and out. Notre Dame almost got home on the punt block, but the Arkansas punter did a little Euro step and threw our boys off and got the punt off. It was actually a pretty good pretty good job by him. Our fourth drive, Notre Dame, great house, great catch, 24 yards on the sideline. Nice to finally see his number called. Ended with a Jeremiah Love screen pass for 34 yards for a touchdown. 27-10, good guys, with 6:04 left in the second. This game's already over. And we're not even into the second half yet. All right, fifth drive, Arkansas, fifth drive. This is where I get pissed at the announcers again for screwing this up. Christian Gray leaps out of his shoes to break up a pass, and the announcers saying it was almost picked. It wasn't. It was just a great leaping one-handed knockdown for you. Could he have? Possibly. Was he going to? No. It was just good defense. However, the next play was a 54-yard run by Green. So that's fun. So they're in the red zone. Prince of Boo-Boo, Boubacar Traore. This is why I call him Prince of Boo-Boo. His name's really hard to say. That's his nickname for him. They call him Booby in the locker room. I call him Prince of Boo-Boo because I like Aladdin. He gets the sack on a screenplay. Next play is Tay Johnson. He makes a big pass breakup. And then this is where I get pissed at the announcers again because they say it was Zachary. Number 9 is very different than number 24. I don't know why it's so hard for you guys to do your jobs. Just do, like I said last week, if you have a job, do the best of your ability. So then we go to third down, and Prince of Boo-Boo makes a tackle line of scrimmage. So the defense gave up a 54-yard run, but they came back, bend, don't break, and made a 4th and 20 for a 49-yard field goal, which they made, but they made it difficult. So just wish they didn't give up the explosive plays. So Notre Dame's fifth drive, Carr runs for a first down on 3rd and 5 for 14 yards, so he can scoot. So I keep throwing that out there every time he does that. Next play was talked about a lot by a lot of the beat writers because it's all I could do was listen to this on my 12-yard drive back here. 12-hour drive back here. C.J. Carr throws the outside, and it's almost jumped on a comeback route to Faison, but Carr throws it so perfectly, it doesn't matter. Like, the guy could not touch this ball if he threw his helmet at it. So, and it goes for a 24-yard gain. We got a real dude in C.J. Carr. Then we end up tossing it to Price for no gain on 3rd and 2 and then 4th and 2, we throw the ball, which is crazy because 2 years ago, last year, we don't throw the ball on 4th and short. We always run it with the quarterback. So, yes, you can throw on short downs to pick up first downs. I'm glad that we're finally doing this. Jay Love, another 4-yard touchdown run, 35-13. Good guys. Arkansas' 6th drive as the half is winding down. They got one play off, and it was crazy because it looked like another 20-yard pass play to score in Notre Dame before the half. Like, it looked like we were going right back down that Purdue route, like, why are we going to let them score before the half? But Schuler punches the ball out. We get the ball, and this is our only drive the first half that was under 70 yards because it started at their 45. And the Price is, after a 10-yard gain by whoever, Jeremiah Price had an outstanding run after the catch. 35 yards, catches the ball 5 yards in the backfield on a swing pass. 42-13, good guys at the half. This game is done. I've got 2 more drives because this game's over, and I just wrote down the notes because I felt like I had to start off because we got to give our shout-out to special teams. Always need to give shout-out to special teams. Notre Dame's 7th drive. Carr throws a pass that should have been picked off by the Arkansas linebacker named Sorey, and I bet he was sorry about that one. By the way, his name is just what Dylan says in a Canadian accent whenever he feels appalled. 3 and out. We ran a fake punt. Up 42-13. Excellent fake. It was a direct snap to, I think it was Jeremiah Love. It was number 4, so it could have been Osbury as well, but direct snap to number 4. Tossed the Faison. Randall doing the first thing he did in 2 weeks and throwing a block because he hasn't had to kick the ball. Still hadn't. And Malachi with a 40-yard reception. The next set of downs, though, we gotta convert when we get these pickups. We went 3 and out again, and then the 4th and down conversion, we got intentional grounding, and we gotta stop doing that. CJ, you just chuck it deep. Don't throw it sideways out of bounds. That's not it's not good. So Arkansas did technically have back-to-back stops, but special teams kind of tried to win the game, but whatever. And that is really all I have. Then the Arkansas 7th drive, we blew coverage. It was either by Fram or Tay Johnson. I don't care. We won the game.
Sounds good, Tim. Thank you for that. I don't even know if I remember half the things you were talking about.
I didn't either. I just watched the game less than 2 hours ago because I couldn't see half of it in the stadium. So you got the notes.
Yeah. Well, look, it was a really impressive performance offensively. You had criticized Kirby Lambert there earlier on, but a lot of good stuff from Lambert elsewhere in that game. I really feel like the offensive line is coming along. I think the offensive line was our biggest concern after week 1 versus Miami, and I feel like we haven't really talked about the offensive line too much since. Granted, they're not playing the same level of competition, so they're going to have to improve when they do, because if we do get to the playoffs, you're going to have to be able to stop a pass rush. But that's a good thing, because if they're playing their game, the offense is going to be very hard to stop between Mike Denbrock, who we haven't given enough props to this whole year, but specifically in this game, and then, of course, the weapons we have. So, do you guys want to do a 4 horsemen of the game? We could probably do it collectively here. I feel like the first 2 are easy to pencil in as CJ Carr and Jeremiah Love. We're all in agreement there.
Yeah,
for sure.
I would nominate Jadarian Price as well. And I kind of want to go Jordan Faison for the 4th one. 7 receptions, I think. He's averaging over 12 a reception. Just clutch. He seems to be CJ's go-to guy. Malachi has the big explosive plays, but I think when there's an important down, I feel like Faison's the guy he targets.
And you know what? Faison's...
We've also got to get Greathouse into that mix, but I love Faison too. So, I mean, we have an embarrassment of riches, man.
We do. And I do want to say that Malachi Fields may not be CJ Carr's favorite receiver, but he's definitely Faison's receiver because he threw him that 40-yard pass on the fake punt.
That was an outrageous play. I can't believe we did it. I like that we did it. It's not about style points as much as it is a common opponent, I think. I think it's style points is part of it, but when Ole Miss has 2 losses and we're comparing resumes, that game is going to be important. And I think Marcus Freeman understands that. So I want to talk a little bit about
he wants his guys to have the mentality that you don't take your foot off the gas, which is a huge turnaround from the last decade plus.
Absolutely. I mean, it's Holtzian a little bit. I want to talk about CJ Carr. 22 for 30, 354 yards. Keep in mind, he didn't play the fourth quarter. 11.8 yards per attempt. And Steve, if you remember, and if listeners remember of our show, for many years we were a little more analytics heavy. We still are. 10 is like the ballpark number we like, and he's well above that. 4 touchdowns to 0 interceptions. A QBR. Now, for some of you who are not familiar, QBR, this is ESPN stat. It's scaled to 100, so you can get a score of 0 to 100. It's based on EPA, which means expected points added per play. And based on every play, he gets a score. They have a little secret ESPN formula, and it pumps out a number. This is different than passer rating. It's a much better statistic. It's widely regarded, and was for a long time, as the best quarterback statistic. Out of 100, we've talked before about like 80 being a really good threshold to meet. If we could have a consistently 80 quarterback, we're in a national championship hunt. Guys, 98.1 QBR on the game, and it's not just an isolation either. He's got, second in the entire country right now in QBR. This is a quarterback who has played 4 games. 4 games, guys. And he's second in the country in QBR. His stats on the year, 68.3% completion. You do not expect this from a freshman quarterback. He's averaging over 10 yards a game. He's got over 1,000 yards total so far this year. 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Even this passer rating, which isn't a statistic I would recommend using, still I think it's top 10 in the country. So this is unprecedented territory. He is already, I think, the best quarterback we've had since at least Ian Book. At least passing the ball.
Far superior to Ian Book.
Yeah.
If the current trend keeps going, obviously we got to see this play out over the course of the long term. But, I mean, better than Kaiser, better than Clausen, and arguably better already, at least at the current pace, than Brady Quinn. Mm-hmm. This is insane.
Yeah, as a pure passer, he's the best we've had in my lifetime. As a pure passer only. Now, you could argue results like Ian Book, most winningest quarterback of Notre Dame. Is he going to be a better overall quarterback than that? We'll find out. Is he going to be a better overall quarterback than Riley Leonard? We'll find out. Because I know a lot of people love that Riley Leonard took us to a natty. So if CJ Carr does that, he's met that threshold. I think he's really creeping up on just being an overall stud. Like, people are talking about him as a first-round draft pick in 3 years from now. And we're 4 games into his first season.
Yeah, they're talking about him as a first overall pick next year.
Well, that's
right. Crazy.
Yeah.
We don't be eligible. So yeah, QBR, there's 2 versions of it. There's the raw score, and then there's the total QBR, which is opponent adjusted. So it accounts for how good your competition has been. So CJ's second in the country in adjusted total QBR. It's 88.4. Can I
interject real quick? Because he was second in the country.
Real quick.
But this game, he was third of all the Notre Dame quarterbacks that threw a pass. Because he was 98.1, meant he was 99.5, and Faison was 100.
Well, sample sizes matter for a reason, but good point. Second in the country behind USC's Jaden Mayava. In terms of raw QBR, CJ is 19th at 81 flat, which is great. We've played a tougher schedule than most through 4 games. So we just got to he's got to keep playing this way. And if he does so, he's going to be in the conversation for possibly a Heisman. And if it's not this year, it would be, I think, a favorite next year. I think that's a good kicking off point, guys. We've did our 4 horsemen. We've talked our recap, and we may have segued into a new conversation. Heisman conversation has ramped up. We are in October. What are you guys thinking, Tim?
I'm thinking that CJ Carr is starting to enter this conversation. And I know I did the same thing last year in the 4 horsemen. I'm just going to say his name real quick. Special shout out to Matt Jeffrey for catching a 30-plus yard bomb from Kenny Minchie along the sideline in the 4th quarter. Continues to shine. I never heard of this guy before last week. I saw him do a pancake block, and now I'm starting to fall in love with this guy very quickly. But yeah, the Heisman talk, like I said, it's always when it's not the first 2 people in the preseason thing, which everyone was saying Manning, it's wide open. And right now, CJ Carr, He is creeping up. I don't want to say. We all thought Jeremiah Love maybe, right? We all were kind of on the let's push Jeremiah Love for a Heisman campaign to start the season, and maybe
I think
CJ
that's
Carr
still our
be a
best
supporting
bet.
actor. It could be, but if CJ Carr keeps playing like this, I don't see how he's not at least in the top 5.
Well, the problem is we don't have any more quality competition left, and that might come to hurt us.
Well, neither did Colorado last year.
That's fair, but he didn't win it on production. He won it on freaky athleticism, playing both sides of the ball.
The second play was Boise State's running back.
Mm-hmm. And he had crazy production.
But they didn't play
I think J Love is still our best bet because he kind of combines those two. He's got the athleticism, and you can really build a narrative around him. I mean, ESPN did a take on him pregame about diagnosis when he was young, right? That's a lot to work off of from a media perspective because the Heisman is a bit of a media award. But he had 4 touchdowns, 2 receiving, 2 catching. He's got 8 on the year. Him and Price are the leaders at 10, and they're both at 8. Could you imagine what if we were just to split production one way, what he would be at? So I think you could have we can make, and I mean we, because the media makes these Heisman arguments, and we are kind of in the media in a way. We certainly can pump up narratives and have done that with the Four Horsemen's Twitter account. I think touchdowns is the route to go because he's scoring a lot of them. He's not going to lead the country in rushing yards because of Price. He's going to get receiving yards. He might get some returning production, but I think touchdowns is the thing to go. And if he keeps this up, I think we can make a genuine argument this year because there's not really anybody, like you, to your point, Tim, who's taken the lead of this thing yet. I mean, On 3 has Dante Moore as their number 1. That's not going to last. Jade Mayava, USC, that's not going to last. Even though I do rate him as a quarterback. Steve?
Yeah, let me go through a list really quickly. I'm gonna pick out. The only non-quarterback right now is Jeremiah Smith at plus 1,000. He has the 3rd best odds. But I'm gonna go through the following quarterbacks, and I want you to say back to me. I'm gonna go through the whole list first. At the end of this list, tell me which of these quarterbacks are better than CJ Carr right now. Fernando Mendoza from Indiana, Dante Moore at Oregon. Carson Beck at Miami.
Oh, no.
Gunnar Stockton at Georgia. Marcel Reed, A&M.
No.
Jaden Mayava, USC.
I'm going to say no in the end.
Jury's out.
Josh Hoover, TCU. Nope. Joey Aguilar, Tennessee. Julian Sayin, Ohio State.
No, I am waiting for you to say the one I'm going to laugh at. Keep going.
Garrett Nussmeier, LSU.
He should be, but we're not seeing it so far.
Yeah. Ty Simpson, Alabama.
Absolutely not.
2 more after this one. Tommy Castellanos of Florida State.
You can make an argument there. He's had a good season.
Well, yeah, he has. Yeah, he has a really good first few games.
Here comes the funny one. Drew Aller, Penn State. And then Haynes King at Georgia Tech.
It's going to be really funny if the AI editing assister takes that out completely.
Yeah. And then it'd just be more media propaganda trying to make Drew Aller sound like a good quarterback. Because every time I hear his name and there's sense in the same sentence as good, I laugh. I just blacked out for a second from laughing so hard.
To be fair, Drew Aller made one throw that was outrageous that game. The touchdown to get them within 7. It's like, why don't they let him do that more often? Because he has arm talent. Like, that was a ridiculous throw he made. That was deep into the corner. Only his guy could get it. But they don't do that. And anytime there's a clutch moment, because I watched that game, Drew Aller just sucks in the clutch moments, man. It's just, I never got the Heisman hype with him. I know the arm talent is there. I get why there's NFL interest, but I don't see the full package.
So I just named 14 quarterbacks for us. All of those 14 are currently, those are the 14 best Heisman odds. of quarterbacks outside of non-quarterback, Ryan Williams. And Dylan and Tim, you guys are able to name 2, maybe 3 quarterbacks better than CJ Carr?
Yeah, they're outright playing better right now. Yeah, I think that's fair.
So CJ, I know that we were just saying how, Jeremiah Love, because of the touchdown, because of the all-purpose yards, like he might end up making him a great conversation for himself, and I think he does in the end. I think that Jay Love, if he stays at this pace and healthy, has to come within the top 10 of voting, arguably top 5. Like, he's just too valuable.
Who do you think our better bet is? Like, who do you think's more likely to win a Heisman
That's what I'm
between the
trying
two?
to parse out, is because you look at, I just named you 14 guys that are all quarterbacks that have the best odds other than Ryan Williams, and that's why I'm thinking that CJ would probably have the better odds, just because it is a quarterback, kind of leaning thing. But it's just crazy to me that we currently have 2 guys on the roster, and I think Jadarian Price is not as good, but in the same ballpark as J-Love. And we have 3 absolute studs in the backfield of this offense. And
that's an argument to J-Love's Heisman campaign is
absolutely
his production. Think about what it would even be without Jadarian Price there taking reps from him. So, I mean, we're too early to say. Like, I remember when Josh Adams had a Heisman campaign for like a few weeks there, which should have just gone to Quentin Nelson. Quentin Nelson should have won the Heisman that year. I think he's the best offensive lineman I've ever seen in my life, at least at the college level. Zach Martin was better in the NFL, but I might be a little biased. It's a tough conversation because you don't really know where the season's going to take it this far early. But I think that's kind of the point, right? Is it's early in the race. The race is up for grabs. You think Heisman moments and media narrative, and I just don't know if Notre Dame's going to have an opportunity to wow anybody at the end of the season. We don't play in a conference championship game, which I think Heisman voting comes after now, which is to our disadvantage. So, that would be my biggest concern. And if you're J-Love, well, the Miami game, there wasn't a lot of production, and that would be counted on as a knock for his Heisman candidacy. So, maybe Carr does take it to the next level. But, we'll see. It'll be interesting, and we're long overdue for one. And if we don't get one this year, I think Carr's got to be in the conversation the next 2 years.
And to your point that you've made thousands of times on this podcast, Heisman trophies are hoisted with a jeweled shillelagh as well. So if you have a all-star game breakout and USC somehow becomes ranked by the time we play them, and either by Carr or Love, I think that's going to really boost the resume because there's really no one else left on the schedule, like you said. But also, there's really no one standing out. And so this is one of those years where it could be, any position group is wide open for contention. It's always, quarterbacks first, running backs second, receivers third, defensive backs fourth. It could be anyone because there's really no one standing out yet.
If J. Love can, average 150 yards of all-purpose yards per game for the rest of the season and just 3 touchdowns a game, you could see it in a year where nobody's pulling ahead. But you would have to have monstrous stats, I think, with our resume. Or same thing with CJ Carr. If he hangs 500 yards a game and 5 touchdowns the rest of the season, it's going to be hard to deny him at least an appearance in New York for the Heisman vote. So yeah, we'll see with that.
Johnny Manziel went 10-2 as a freshman and won it, but of course he beat Alabama, right?
But that's the Heisman moment, right? Was beating Alabama. So I mean, if USC, it's they beat Alabama October, November that year. So it's not like USC is too early in the year. I just don't know if USC, having lost to Illinois, is really going to be much of a resume pattern either for the team getting in or for anyone wanting a Heisman winner.
It could come down to if we would have beat Miami, because that could have been his Heisman moment, that first touchdown pass of the year.
Coming full circle, we just need better scheduling, man, because why the hell did we have that to open up the season?
I don't know. Well, yeah, I mean, that's...
Who knew they were going to be two of the best teams in college football when we scheduled them?
The when the games are played have been unfortunate for us, but, I thought we scheduled decent this year. We added Boise last year, who was a playoff team, to the schedule. USC is supposed to be a good team. NC State has been an 8 or 9 win team every year for most of the years we've been in the ACC. Texas A&M's obviously really good. Miami's really good. Like, this is, I think this is a good schedule. It's just, we've been let down by, I think, some of the opponents.
Yeah.
And then it was front-loaded.
I found this out earlier when I was sitting in traffic, not moving in Chicago. Thanks for not having more than 1 2-lane shitty highway over there. I was just looking at our schedule, and I was like, it dawned on me that we are playing 10 Power 4 opponents. The only 2 we're not playing was Boise State, who was in the playoff last year, and
who
Navy,
might as well be a Power 4 team.
And Navy, who might be the only ranked team we play again the rest of the season.
That's right. Navy could end up being ranked again like they were
last year. It seems like we do this every year, and it doesn't matter if they're ranked or not. We never get credit for beating them when they're ranked. But we also have that Wookiee life debt with them, so it should always just be we're going to play Navy every year. Don't hold it against us.
Yeah, well, as if people could be unbiased when talking about Notre Dame.
Also, no, I want to bring that back before I jinx it, because I don't know if I trust Chris Ash playing the triple option offense yet. So,
it's a good time.
Don't put that evil on us, Ricky Bobby. Don't put that evil on us.
This might be a good time to move to a mailbag section. What do you guys think?
Yeah, let's move on.
A little palate cleanser before we go on to the next week. So we asked for some podcast mailbags. First and foremost, though, we got to bring up a comment that was left on Spotify by Cody Thompson. I promised you to get this question in one day. I just have gone the last 2 weeks. So Cody says he's going to his first Notre Dame game versus Navy this year. 24 years of being a fan from Nebraska, who's also a Husker fan. What should he do? Where should he eat in South Bend? He's been talking about going to a game for years, but tickets and travel is obviously pricey. I know that, brother. What should he do? Tim, I'm going to... you've been there too much. I'll go to you for the food question, and I'll give him a little rundown of what the tourist should do when he's there.
For the food, it's pretty hard to miss if you go to one of the key spots, and it's really depending if you want good food or you want good vibes. Because there's a Okinawa's hibachi place or something like that. I gotta get the name right. This with an O, but there's a sushi place here or a hibachi place here that I love for the best food. Obviously not Notre Dame-ish at all. But if you go to Corby's for the vibe, that's cool. Fiddler's Hearth is also very cool. They got live music all the time when there's Notre Dame in town. Pretty good fish and chips there as well. So it really depends on what you want. And honestly, if you just go straight to like ChatGPT and ask, they'll give you that for the food. For the things to do around campus, there's a few musts. See Touchdown Jesus, go to the grotto, and see the Golden Dome. There's 1,000 things you can do, though. So I'll leave the musts to you, Dylan, because I gave you the full experience for the first time, and I don't remember what the hell we did.
No. I was to Notre Dame before you were there.
Yeah, but I did it right.
We did it well. I would recommend, and Tim, you might have to help me with the words here, but there's a certain entrance on campus that I feel like is west, where you kind of like walk through almost like a graveyard area first.
Yeah.
I highly recommend taking that route in. You go find out what that's called. Because you get to experience Notre Dame from like the magical nature perspective, and you feel the anticipation build, especially in the fall. The weather's nice, the sites start to get bigger. It's very quiet over there too. It's not a very like touristy part of campus.
So what you do is you take East Angela Boulevard into North Notre Dame Ave. And that is the crappiest way to get in there traffic-wise, but it is the most scenic way to get in there when you're first approaching campus. It'll melt your heart. So
yeah,
East Angela,
don't drive that way.
Yeah, walking is preferable, but even if you're just driving to park on campus somewhere, this is also the way to pull in.
So I recommend doing that, and you'll come across the grotto probably first, I think, and that's a great sight and sound. You gotta participate in that. Then of course you'll see the Basilica, the Golden Dome. I recommend Trumpets Under the Dome. It's not under the dome anymore. It's outside, but still a fun process. You could see the marching band do their thing. They don't really do pep rallies anymore, so that's unfortunate. I haven't done the locker room tour because I haven't been there early enough. If you can, I'd recommend it because it seems awesome.
You have to do that on a Thursday morning It has to be Thursday morning game weekends. They don't open them on Fridays before the game's Thursday only. And it's from 9 to 12. So you got a very short window in the morning to do so.
Yeah. Now, if you don't, a good alternative is you can still go into the stadium. You can do the walk where all the championship banners are. You get to go in the field. I'd recommend that. Tim and I took pictures once with, like, they got the Notre Dame helmets and stuff there, little cutout stuff. Good for the whole family. I'd also recommend going to the bookstore, which is, there's a couple of them now. So find a bookstore. It's outrageous how much we have in the bookstores for clothing and apparel.
You might want to take out a small loan before you go in there as well.
It is expensive. They definitely bleed you dry.
It's not even it's expensive. There's so many things you want in there because it's so good.
Yeah, it's remarkable how well done the university has done with, like, vintage stuff, and Under Armour's done a pretty good job too. So yeah, those are the big hitters for sure. Stadium, especially do the outside of the stadium. Go take a picture with every statue of a famous coach there. Everyone that's won a national championship. Touchdown Jesus is great. Not too far, obviously, from the stadium. But yeah, just have fun. Try to attend a tailgate. Timmy's might be there. If not, someone else will be.
I'm not going to that game. No. I have a fiance at home who's been alone without me for 2 months. I don't think I could convince her to let me go to Navy that weekend.
Tim hates the military.
I hate the troops.
But yeah, definitely good recommendations there. I think that's kind of the fast and loose way to do it. You'll just have a lot of fun. You could also go check out the cemetery on campus. There's a lot of famous Notre Dame people who've been buried on campus. You can go check out the gravestones.
Rockney.
Yep. Moose. Okay, so
one thing I do have to tell you about this bookstore, because you're gonna be attracted, especially because at the time of year you're going against Navy, you're gonna want to buy a hoodie. Make sure you try the hoodie on, and make sure you can roll up the sleeves on each arm comfortably. Because most Under Armour hoodies, when you buy at that bookstore, they're like locked to your wrist, so you can never wash your hands without soaking your wrist. It's a flaw they have. They fixed it a little bit sometimes, but try them on first.
All right, quick hitters here for the mailbag, guys. Benny asks us, why is this the green out and not the SC game?
Would I like the green out to be the SC game? Yes. Am I okay with it being this game here? Also yes, because we weren't really sure what we were going to do going into Boise. It should be a night game, first of all. But it's not.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's whatever. And you need after they're coming back from Arkansas, and it was supposed to be a trap game, is what this was facing out to be. With the green crowd, it's supposed to keep us all engaged throughout the game. So it's just trying to hype up the crowd.
I hate that that's what this is being used for. The point of the green jerseys is to be special for a big game when you need that extra little inch to get the boys behind, all that.
You might need it this game.
Mumbo jumbo. The argument last year against not having it for Florida State, which was annoying, was that, well, it's November and people are wearing jackets, which is, as a Canadian, piss off. You wear some sweaters. I mean, come on, get a green jacket. It's not the North Pole. And I've been at Notre Dame when it is cold. That Florida State game was not warm, but I layered up and I wore green. So the problem is USC's 2 weeks from now. So or 2 or 3. It's not like the weather's going to change that much between Boise and October to mid-October when we play USC. So I don't really buy that it's going to be too cold for the SC game and people are not going to be wearing green because their jackets will be on. So screw that. To answer your question, Benny, I don't know. And it really annoys me that the university does this. It should be for the biggest game on the schedule. I'm not even sure if it should be every year. I do like to see them, but, I like that reserve for USC comes to town. Ohio State's in town. Texas is in town. I think that's when it should be used. If anything, the A&M game would have made more sense. And also another thing, Benny, is Notre Dame has been really traditional with SC. I don't know if they want to wear green against them. I think they just want that to be the blue game under the lights with the gold helmets.
That's what I was going to say. Is I think they're going to basically try to turn this into a uniform matchup because Boise does have the ability to be dynamic because with less uniform tradition, they can draw something up nice for their road uniforms, and then for us, we'll obviously have the greens. So I didn't overthink it. I just think that they're just trying to lock into something annually just for some sort of novelty. And yeah, I'm with you, Dylan. I think it needs to be a little bit more sparingly.
And One thing about Boise State, and I said this in the preseason podcast, I believe. They wear blue uniforms. They have a blue field. We have green uniforms. We have a green field. So we're kind of sticking with the trend of painting our field the same color as our jerseys.
Nice. Irish Goon asks us, best guess, how is Freeman feeling right now about Ash, and what are the chances he actually gets removed before the end of the season and promote Mickens while Freeman helps out the D? I'm going to take the first crack at that. I don't think he's feeling too good about Chris Ash right now, but I don't think he's going to get fired in season. I think Freeman's going to give him the season to turn it around. I think that's kind of fair. If there is a firing or if we move on, I think it'll be in the offseason, unless things just like really, really fall apart. I think right now he's probably not feeling good, but also some of his blame's on him. Man, like, some of the personnel decision is on him. He hired Chris Ash. Marcus Freeman is a defensive coach. The defensive side of the ball shouldn't be the issue when your head coach is that specialty. I don't get why the mentality, we don't play as fast and as rabid as we did with Al Golden. We were attacking the ball like an SEC defense. And now I just feel like we're a little softer. We're playing a little too much bend, don't break. And I don't think we have the defensive line for that, unfortunately. I think pass rush is getting better, but I don't know if we have the defensive line to allow our DBs to kind of just hold on for 8 seconds before a ball comes out. That's just my take, but I'm curious what you guys think.
We're going to find out in precisely 3 fucking weeks. That's my opinion. I think if Jaden Mayava comes and cooks you for 4 straight quarters and you walk away from that game with egg on your face with a big fat L, despite CJ and the offense, scoring 35, 40 points at home, that's a hell of a discussion to have. You think you come in Monday morning just like, well, I guess we're going to work on our pass rush this week, I think at that point it's, Well,
we're going to score 40 against SC. So, to your point, Steve,
depends how much are they going to score.
Yeah, that might be the first to 50 game. Tim, your thoughts?
I think that Marcus Freeman has really grasped this defense. He's fully hands-on at this point, and it's much like the meme of Homer Simpson strangling Bart. That's how hands-on he is with this defense right now. So I think he's going to have the rest of the season unless the wheels fall off. There is a possibility that this defense starts clicking, and it's because of just a little tinker here or there, and it's not. Maybe Chris Ash kind of falls into play. It's possible.
Well, guys, don't forget, Al Golden didn't have a good first year, and a lot of us wanted him kind of gone because he wasn't a great recruiter, and the results were just kind of it was fine. I mean, he cost us the Ohio State game with that blitz, but and he gave USC an 8th Heisman winner, but let's give him another go. So I think he could pull it out and turn it around. I think Chris Ash could end up being great, and I hope it is. I hope by the end of the season we're not even thinking about this question anymore. But so far we have to.
And so what I'm also wondering is I don't know how hands-on Marcus Freeman is in the handoff from one coordinator to the next defensively. Because when he handed the defense over to Errol Golden, I don't know how hands-on he was. This is what I did, this is what worked, this is what did, this is what I want. You keep doing this. Or did he just say, this is what I did. You decide what you want to keep and get rid of. I don't know how hands-on he is in these handoffs. So if he's been hands-off the last 2 times, because Al Golden's slow start. This is I don't know if we started kind of approach. So it's gonna, whatever he's doing, if he did it both ways, then screw it. But if you've done it the same way twice, if you do hire someone else to do it in the offseason, maybe do it a little different. Because
it was also an outside the box. It was an outside the box hire, and I don't mind those, like Al Golden was, if they work out. But when they're Chancey Stuckey and they don't, and you gave up on Jamarcus Shepard, who's the best wide receivers coach in the country, not named Brian Hartline, I get a little annoyed, and that's kind of where we are. We could have picked any defensive coordinator in the country. I mean, Penn State pulled Knox from the Ohio State. We could have pulled somebody from anywhere, and we pulled Chris Ash. So, this has got to hit. So I think Freeman
I know
is... Why?
Because Al Golden had head coach experience, and so did Chris Ash. And Marcus
Yeah,
Freeman
but
being
that
a
was
new
when
quarterback,
Freeman.
he might still want that little safety net.
Yeah, I mean, you could be right. You could be right. I like that defensive coordinator of Miami that they stole from Minnesota or Michigan State. Just
Minnesota.
you tell me you could flex. You could easily flex on Miami. By the way. Okay, so last one before we move on here. Private Fight makes a point here. Brian Kelly's record in his first 47 games at Notre Dame: 34-13 with one title game loss. Marcus Freeman in that same 47 games, 35-12 with the title loss, so one win better. Discuss. Well, my first shot at that is show me the record against ranked teams.
And my second point after that is show me the 2013 season after the title loss.
Well, we're maybe
Please
in the middle
don't
of that
bring that up
ourselves.
yet.
I mean, come on.
No, I'm with you.
I don't
We're
mean
not
to
good that
knock
year.
on all the wood in the world, including my boner, but do you think that this offense is going to lose 9 games or 8 games or whatever?
Well, no, Notre Dame went, I think, 8-4 that year.
Did they?
8-5.
I thought that was the 4-8 year. Nope. 4-8
No, that was 20. That was 2016. You said that on the last podcast. I was listening to it on my drive, and I was like, you got the year wrong, Steve. That was 2016.
Well, now I'm
It's
going to
all
go
goes
jump
by.
off. Wait. Play the music.
No.
All right, Chris Benoit, calm down. Okay, we could do that all day. That's it for the mailbag. Thanks for participating, everybody. Tim, what do we got next on the docket?
Next, we have a recap of the league. And I would like to start this off because I just got breaking news hot across the press here. I got it about 30 minutes ago, so it's kind of cooled down a little bit since then. I can put my hands on it. It's a little cooler now. So, University of Virginia was fined $50,000 for injuring 19 people in the crowd storming. So let's start off with that Friday game. Florida State blowing it against UVA.
Awesome. What a great crowd reaction. Absolutely fuck these conferences for trying to fine them as a way to discourage. We need more storm fielding. And I'm sick of people pearl-clutching over some fan flipping off a player. Like, I get it, that's not classy. I'm not condoning it. But, can we eat, like, I saw even, like, Josh Pate was like, as commissioner, I'm going to make sure that guy's never playing again or at a game again. And it's just like, dude, these are professional athletes. They're getting paid millions, some of them. I don't care anymore. If a fan wants to flip you off on the field, that's so be it. That doesn't justify... People are like, well, you could just punch him in the face. You're like, that's not how proportionality works. Getting flipped off on the field is not the same as assaulting a fan. So let's fucking comment on that, boys. But I just don't get the pro clutching. It's like, okay, yeah, it's not a great look, but they're having fun. And when you're Florida State and you lose to Virginia, you kind of have it coming. And I think I would say that the same if we lost to Virginia. So good on the Virginia fans. Not necessarily that one in specific, but good on the fans for rushing the field, having a great time with it. I'm sure the university will pay the fine, no problem.
Yeah, that's when you don't mind cutting that check. That's a happy check to sign there. Yeah, I mean, just doing a recap real quick, I suppose, of the weekend on top of that loss. TCU did get upset. Arizona State kind of re-entered the Big 12 conversation, although I think they're still on the outside looking in. They need some chips to fall their way, so to speak. Ohio State cleaned up against Washington, but didn't look great. 24-6.
They got some referee help.
Yeah, I mean, they looked good, not great. So your number one team,
they deserve to win. I think they deserve to win. I watched the game, but you're right, Steve. They weren't overly impressive.
There was obviously the big one, Drew Aller throwing another game-ending interception. It's just chef's kiss. I could watch that 350 times straight on repeat. So number 6 Oregon takes down number 3 Penn State. Ole Miss at home does in fact cover, and they take out Big Game Brian and LSU. Number 5 Georgia, they had the inside track on the SEC. Well, now they have to get right back in the mud and start fighting it out with everybody else, because Alabama makes a statement that they are not quite done yet. A&M holds on at home against a frisky Auburn team, but to only win by 6, especially when they were favored by 6.5, you want to see them, at least, great teams cover, so to speak. So put a pin in that Texas A&M, although they look good right now. And I think they probably end up a 9-win team. I don't know. That just
nailed that prediction.
Doesn't feel good to see that score, but regardless, they advance.
Sorry, which game is this?
The Texas
was
A&M game. I
A&M
nailed that prediction.
holding off
No.
Auburn.
A&M dominated them the whole game. They just missed like 3 field goals, and Auburn got super lucky. I am not worried about A&M after that performance. I understand the scoreline's scary, and they fucked us, 2 of us, on the spread.
Not me.
It was 6.5, and it was bullshit because they missed, I think, like 3 field goals. Which, by the way, where was that when we played them? But anyway,
Yeah,
sorry.
They made me very happy.
Oh my god. 2 more games that are relevant to, I guess, the playoff conversation. Indiana. I mean, 2 of the points that they gave up were a self-imposed safety at the end. So they won 20-15 against Iowa. Call it basically 20-13. So a 7-point victory.
That game was wild too because there was a turnover that would have given Iowa a chance to win the game, and they didn't capitalize, and then Indiana scored afterwards.
Yeah. So Indiana still. I'm not going to call them frauds yet, but I'm going to say that they are potential frauds.
We are monitoring the situation.
I will absolutely monitor.
They bullied, and that's not even the right word. They did illegal things to Illinois, and Illinois, by the way, squeaks out a last-second field goal win against USC, who was trailing the whole game, but I'm just going to get mad if I start talking about USC's constant disappointment, because they just always disappoint me. Every time we're supposed to, we want college game day. Well, they're not ranked anymore. We want a good opponent. Well, they lose to Illinois. They're gonna play Michigan. Michigan's gonna win. I know. I hate it, but they're gonna win. I'm annoyed by that. Georgia Tech, Wake Forest went overtime. By the way, Georgia Tech is my forever favorite sleepy team. I think they could be a giant one day. I do not like that they went to overtime with Wake Forest, but they got it done. I don't really think there's much else to talk about, Steve. You kind of covered everything there. It was a good week. I mean, Tennessee, Mississippi State went to overtime. That's one Mississippi State maybe should have won that game at home. I don't think Tennessee's that good, and I don't think Georgia's that good either.
Can I go back to Georgia Tech real quick?
Yes.
Let me go back to Georgia Tech, because this is kind of terrifying, because we need Georgia Tech to drop 2, and the remaining schedule is Virginia Tech, Duke, Syracuse, NC State, Boston College, Pittsburgh, and Georgia. So they're going to drop 1. I don't see where they drop a second one.
Dude, they almost lost to Wake Forest. They could lose any of those games, and they could win them all, too. The ACC is just fun football at the moment. But Virginia Tech, speaking of, beat North Carolina State, which annoys the hell out of me because it was a close game, and NC State's a team on our slate this year. But yeah, I thought, Oregon beating Penn State, and it really shouldn't have gotten overtime. Oregon should have comfortably won that game. Penn State made a really miraculous comeback late. I was surprised by Alabama, Georgia. I thought Georgia was a bit of a fraud, but Alabama was a bigger fraud. I think I'm right on one of those 2 things. I think Alabama maybe has bunkered down here, and they could be a threat because there's a lot of talent there. But, looking at the playoff picture, nothing much has really changed. It's still early. We're going to have a lot of upsets. The conferences are going to cannibalize themselves. I am not worried. In fact, the fact that Notre Dame's ranked with 2 losses is fantastic because that's going to seep into the public consciousness, and the committee, when they come up with their rankings, will have Notre Dame ranked, assuming we don't lose another one. And we'll see from there. So I think we're fine at 10-2 if we were to get in, or if we were to get there, I think we'd get in. But, you still got to root for chaos, right? That's what you, as a fan, you should be rooting for chaos, I think, every week anyway. That's the beauty of this sport. Like, any ranked team, I hope, loses, which makes it fun. Oh, what do you got for me, Tim?
So if we want to go into the playoff implications of where Notre Dame sits right now, we can do that. Unless, Steve, you have something else you want to say about recapping this crazy weekend of college football.
I was just going to say, in regards to rooting for chaos, everybody reveres and holds a special place in their heart for the 2007 season. Because it was fun. That's pretty much it. But anyway. No, you can continue.
All right.
Just stop with the awkward side. Just talk.
I think it's because you cut out on our end, but I think the audio is going to upload fine.
You left me on a cliffhanger there. I'll say that.
I think it's something to do with 2007, but
Yeah, that's what he said. 2007 chaos. He's like, if you love chaos, you wait to use, then just cut out for me. But I
also, Tim,
think
why are you wearing a
2007.
Buffalo Sabres hockey shirt? That's
I can
disgusting.
tell you, actually, this is a fun story because I brought enough clothes for 7 days for a 5-day trip, and it was so damn hot there, I sweat through all of them. My boy Eli actually bought me an Arkansas shirt just to buy me one when I was there, and I enjoyed wearing the skin of our vanquished foe the next day. I wore that Arkansas shirt all day yesterday. Just like you slaughter a hog, you eat the hog, you wear its skin. I wore a leather Arkansas hog shirt, my fallen foe, all day yesterday in St. Louis, with Notre Dame shorts on. So I'm sure people were looking at me like, "What the hell?" But if anyone pays attention, but so the 10-2 fallout we could have right here. So teams last year that were 10-2 at the end of the season after conference championship week. You had Ohio State, they made it. Tennessee, they made it.
I wonder if they had a good playoff.
Yeah, Miami, they did not make it, and BYU
That's on them.
BYU did not make it.
Miami lost the last game of the year to Syracuse. That would have put them in the ACC title game.
Yes.
And if they went to the ACC title game, they would have got in. That's on them.
They could have gotten in at 11-2, but they did not. Their losses were Georgia Tech, which was an embarrassing loss, and Syracuse, which was an embarrassing loss, and their win against Cal, 39-38, was a fraudulent win because that game was fixed. And you cannot tell me otherwise because Cal beat the hell out of them in that game. And if Cal's going to beat the hell out of you and you need the refs to bail you out for a win, you don't deserve to be in the playoffs.
I think it was the right call. But anyway.
There's multiple calls in that game, not any one call. Tennessee's schedule last year, they lost to Arkansas 19-14 on the road, and they lost to Georgia 31-17 when Georgia was ranked 12th, also on the road. Those are the only two losses, and they made it in. So 2 conference losses. We don't get that benefit, but we will have the benefit if these teams stay ranked. We lost 2 ranked games, which is, I think, better. Ohio State.
Tim,
go ahead.
Just to interject there for a second, one good thing about Notre Dame, yes, we're not in a conference, but we play every conference, essentially, except maybe the Big 12 this year. We have teams from all over the country. And that's going to give us a common opponent against a lot of teams that you're not even going to think we have a common opponent with. Like Notre Dame and Ole Miss are going to have Arkansas.
Yep.
Notre Dame and Penn State are going to have, probably a common team in there. I probably should have picked a different example.
Purdue.
So yeah, Purdue plays Penn State this year, right? So, you would teams like that, and that's a useful data point. It's not a be-all, end-all data point, but if you are consistently better in your common opponents against
and
teams
USC.
that are up against you in the bubble, and USC, I mean, that's going to be a big one for a lot of Big Ten teams and us. So, you just got to keep cheering for the teams that beat you and the teams that you beat, which kind of makes it a little tough. But
I hate that shit, by the way.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Like I liked it better when we just went undefeated and we could root against everyone still. But I hate the world we live in where the 12-team playoff was supposed to get rid of that. Like, okay, we can lose to USC and still root against them because we'll make it in at 11-1. Not this year, and then they lose to Illinois, like you said, very annoying.
Yep. Are we ready for our Week 6 predictions? And give us a recap on our Week 5.
One more team to go through that made it through 10-2, because their losses were abysmally worse than Notre Dame's this year, and that last team was Ohio State last year at 10-2. They lost to number 3 Oregon on the road with a mind-boggling coaching decision at the end of that game and a few in the middle of the game. And then they lost to Michigan at home 13-10 in the biggest game in the last 5 years that they've had in the regular season because everyone was staring right at them on a big noon kickoff. So they had one loss, forgivable, top 5 team on the road, one loss.
Yeah, that's a great loss.
So if the
I
playoff
don't think it's that bad. Michigan was an 8 or 9 win team, right? I don't think it's a terrible loss. But the thing is, what about the wins, right? Like, it's easy to go through the losses, but like we're not going to have many quality wins.
Let's stay with Ohio State then, because we have 10 Power 5 people this year, like we already said, and a playoff contender last year, and Navy. So we're playing essentially 12 power teams because Navy, when we started doing this, they were a power whatever team. So we count them.
Nice goalpost move there.
I'm moving the hell out of that one. So Akron, last year's schedule for Ohio State: Akron, Western Michigan, Marshall. So right off the bat, they start with 3 non-conferences. Then you go Michigan State, Iowa, Oregon loss, Nebraska, Penn State, Purdue, Northwestern, Indiana, Michigan.
Okay, so Penn State and Indiana were both top 10 teams. That we're not going to have 2 top 10 ranked wins. That's why it's like, okay, yeah, I get, you're making comparisons with losses, which are good, but because I'm trying to move, and every year's different. Well, of course, but every year's different too, right? Like we might have 10 win teams, or we might have like 2. So we'll see. But I think we should move on to week 6 here and start wrapping this up before we get to Boise State. So, Steve, this is your segment here as our bookie.
I got one last thing because the Tennessee, they're right after Ohio State as the rankings, and their wins last year were Chattanooga, number 24 NC State, Kent State, number 15 Oklahoma, lost to Arkansas, Florida, beat number 7 Bama, Kentucky, Mississippi State, lost to 12 Georgia, UTEP, Vanderbilt. So we aren't going to get those top ones like you said, but if you look at like the whole of Tennessee's thing, like their wins were Bama, and that's it, really, and Oklahoma, I guess, at that point in time. But I think we're okay, is my point in saying all this.
Steve, what do you got?
Well, I'm a little out of sorts, but actually, Dylan, recap us real quick. What's the update on the sports?
Absolutely. We are firing on all cylinder, guys. Good last week for me and you in particular.
Yeah, the last 3 weeks.
Tim's doing all right. Tim is still leading. Tim's 19-10 straight up and 14-15 against the spread. I'm 17-10-2 straight up, 15-14 against the spread. And Steve, you're now in the black. You're 15-13-1 against straight up, and you're 16-13 against the spread. You have the best against the spread record. Tim's got a 2-game lead over me straight up. We're all above 500. We're all back to where we should be, which is successfully predicting college football games as always. Do not fall for the parlay trick, guys. I know they're fun to put a bet into every now and then, but if single game betting is what's going to make you a little more money, just to be honest. Gamble responsibly. We're not endorsing anything. Go ahead.
100% return on investment is always good.
Facts. All right, so the big one so far on the marquee matchup, we got Miami going to Florida State. This game is at 7:30 p.m. On Saturday on ABC. Looks like Miami is currently favored by 4.5 points on the road. Dylan, who do you got?
That's a tough one, guys. I'm going to kick it to Tim first.
I'm hearing the spread for the first time here. So Miami's favored 4.5 at Florida State. So that means they're really 6.5 at Florida State. The same Florida State that just lost to UVA. The same Florida State that was 2-10 last year. The same Florida State that constantly disappoints Barstool Florida State week after week every time they hype them up. Yeah, I'm going to go Miami to cover.
I'm with you. I think that Miami is going to cover now, and that's just because 4.5 is, that's pretty slim pickings there. So yeah, I think that they end up covering, but I wouldn't be surprised if this game ended like 30-20. Right? I think it'll be fairly tight, but Miami will come out on top.
Guys, Florida State's going to win this game outright, I'm sorry to tell you.
Not so fast, my friend. My God, Dylan. Why is that?
Suck.
2 reasons. 1, this is a rivalry game. And 2, Florida State just lost to Virginia. They are going to come out hard this week. It is going to be their season, essentially. This is, outside of the Florida game at the end of the year, this is their biggest game. It will be the biggest game just given Miami's status as a good team this year. It's going to be a ranked matchup in Doak Campbell. I think that's the name of the stadium there down in Tallahassee. What time is kickoff, Steve? Is this an afternoon game?
Night game.
7:30, night game.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. The Tomahawk Chop's going to chop their way to a victory. I'm taking the upset. Give me Florida State at home. Home underdog. That's my bet.
Can I tell you why the Tomahawk Chalk works against Bama? Because they don't hear that. Miami's used to it.
Miami. What fans at Miami are used to that?
Every single
And
Miami game is.
Their team is entirely transfer portal guys.
Listen. So is Florida State's.
Yeah, but the point is that,
Yeah, we did the tomahawk chop against them last year. How it worked, actually, that worked well. But every single Miami game, whether they're home or away, is an away game because they got to travel to get to the stadium. So they're used to this. Like, I'm telling you, there's no way Miami drops this game.
I hope Miami wins for the sake of Notre Dame, but I'm taking Florida State.
Fair enough. Up next, we have, I'm not going in chronological order here, so apologies, but we have 1-3 Boston College on the road at 2-2 Pittsburgh. Game is in Pittsburgh. This is at 12 o'clock p.m., and Pitt is favored by 6.5.
Tim, I like the order Tim, me, then Steve. Let's do that.
Getting these lines real time. Hang on, 6.5 for Pitt. At Pitt. Oof. All right. They both suck. Everything in my body says Pitt is going to win this game. I actually even wrote it down ahead of time, but then you gave me that line. And Boston College is a sneaky little bastard. So I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to go Boston College up with the upset.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, I just feel like Pitt sucks.
You know what, Tim? I'm in agreement with you here. I got BC with the upset as well. They've been a little unlucky this year. They lost a close game in overtime to Michigan State. They lost to, I believe, Stanford and Cal. Close games. I think they pull this one out. Also, I just get a bad vibe with Pitt this year, man. They lost to maybe the worst West Virginia team that's ever been assembled. And on top of that, they blew a massive lead, I think, to Louisville last week at home. I don't know. This Pitt team's got bad juju this year for me. I'm still afraid of playing there. But I'm fading Pitt.
All two of their fans are going to crash out after they lose this game.
Steve?
So then I guess it makes sense that naturally I'm going to take Pitt to win and cover. I think that BC.
We got to get some disagreements. We're been in agreement almost every week here.
Yeah, I know. No, I think BC is the ultimate fraud. I don't think BC is winning more than 4 games this year, and this is not going to be one of them.
Fair enough. That's a fair take.
Yep. Okay. Up next we have. Here's a fun one. It's technically an SEC matchup these days, and it is number 9 Texas on the road in the swamp at Florida. This game is on 3:30 p.m. At 3:30 p.m. on ESPN. Texas on the road is only favored by 6.5 against 1-3 Florida Gators. So that's a little frisky. Tim, who you got?
I have minus 6.5. Well, we've seen that Texas sucks.
Did I say 6.5? Yeah, it's 6.5.
We've seen that Texas sucks. We've seen that Florida sucks. Vegas thinks Texas is 6.5 points better than them, which means 8.5 in a neutral site. And Florida does suck. Florida really sucks. But it is in the swamp. And Florida does Florida things, and Texas does Texas things. So give me Florida to win.
Wow. You know, I've been back and forth on this one because I kind of want to go Florida for this reason. They've had a tough schedule. They've had USF, who's a good team, Miami, and LSU to start the season. That's brutal, and I want to give them some credit here. But Texas has got Red River next week, and they're not losing heading into that week, I don't think. I'm going to take Texas, but I'm taking Florida to cover at home.
I am going to take the home dogs. Give me the Gators to win.
You like your Gators upset usually.
Yeah, it's just again, they're probably a 6-6 program in this SEC, but they are fast enough and they are talented enough to break through and upset at least one game per year, and this is going to be one of them. So give me 10.
Quick question: Lane Kiffin's their head coach next year, right? Now that his kids are no longer they're no longer in high school, they're gone. He can move away now. because the only reason he stayed at Ole Miss was because his daughter did a PowerPoint presentation on losing her friends. Were you guys not watching ESPN? No? Okay.
No.
Lane Kiffin's going to Florida is my money for
Yeah,
next
I can
year.
see that. Also, Florida does need a head coach regardless. So, one thing I do want to throw out there, I know it's just really random in the middle of the podcast, but I did say last week that Notre Dame loves to lose games when the head coach's job is on the line for the other team, and we beat that Stoma. So, do feel bad for Sam Pittman that he has to pack up and with his family and tell him he got fired and all that nonsense. But we did it. We got a coach fired. Hold on, Notre Dame.
Perfect. All right, next up we have Iowa State and Iowa State and Cincinnati. So sorry, just getting the line here. Filibustering. Iowa State is on the road. They are getting 1.5 points against Cincy. Let's see if I can.
You say 1.5?
1.5 for ISU.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. No, Cincinnati is getting 1.5 points now. Has the line moved since we got the line just recently?
Or did you move it since you sent it to us?
Nope. No, Cincinnati's actually favored by 1.5. So sorry. 5-0, undefeated, number 14 ranked Iowa State Cyclones on the road at Cincinnati, who is 3-1, and Cincinnati is getting 1.5 at home. Tim.
So since he lost to Nebraska already, Nebraska lost to USC, and I've been screaming Iowa State's doing so good because of the Pop-Tart magic in Ireland to start the season. And I had Cincy to win this when I realized that they were the dog. Now I know their favorite. Give me those Cyclones.
Dylan?
To win.
It's a tough game. I think the Big 12's got so many teams that are just going to cannibalize themselves, and I don't think Iowa State is head and shoulders above the rest of the conference.
This
and I think
game
this
is
is where their
12 o'clock noon as well.
I think this is where their luck runs out. So I'm going to take Cincinnati at home here, and I will take them to cover the 1.5 because that's not a lot, but I could see it going either way.
Yeah, everything in my body is telling me to take Iowa State in this game. So I'm going to just say, nope, I'm an idiot, and I'm going to fade myself and go with Cincinnati. Win and cover.
So before you read this next one, because I know what it is, because there's only one option left, can I give you my score prediction before we even get in there?
Please.
I say Bama covers double whatever you're about to say, because I have no idea what the line is.
Okay. Interesting.
If you say 20, I'm going to be pissed.
Do you want me to give you the line at the open or what it is currently as of 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday night?
We live in
right now.
Okay. So the last game, Alabama hosting Vanderbilt. The Alabama is ranked 10th. Vanderbilt is ranked 16th. Vandy is 5-0, and they are headed to Tuscaloosa as 10.5-point underdogs. The Tide are pulling 10.5 at home. This game is at 3:30 on ABC. Tim, you've very clearly said that
Bama
you're going to
Alabama
Bama to win and cover. Yep. So, Dylan, who you got?
You know, this was a fun matchup last year because Vanderbilt upset them just by like 1,000 QB runs. That's not going to happen this week. Alabama's going to win, but I will take Vanderbilt to cover because Clark Lee has coached a hell of a team down there. And I don't think Alabama's perfect. I think they're a very flawed team, but I do like them at home.
I'm going to agree with you exactly. I'm going to take Alabama to win, but 10.5 points is a little bit too frisky for me. I think that kid Diego Pavia is he's too much of a gamer, too much of a fighter. Has kind of that Riley Leonard kind of spirit to him. He just will run into a brick wall until his body gets beat to a crisp. So I'll take Vandy to cover in that, but Bama will come out on top.
Well, that's going to happen. His body's going to get beat to a crisp because Bama's pissed about last year. And I don't care how bad Bama is. They are still Bama, and it is still Vanderbilt, and it is Clark Lee, but it is still Bama.
Tim, if Vanderbilt wins, we're going to have to come up with a unique punishment for you for your arrogance on this one.
I will have you eat dog shit out of a red Solo cup like the Florida State fan did on Twitter.
That's a great callback.
All right, let's get into the big one here. We got Boise State, Notre Dame. I don't really want to do much of a statistical preview because they're a group of 4 team or group of 5 or 6. I don't even know how many conferences are now in that group. But they're not a Power 4 team. And the reason that's relevant is obviously you're comparing apples to oranges statistically. They do have, I think, the 9th offense in the country in total yardage. Again, put a little grain to salt to that. Seem to be a little more run heavy, but they do have a returning quarterback, Madsen. A lot of production there. But we just played a quarterback who was really good in Arkansas, and it didn't really matter. He's got to come to Notre Dame. So the Irish are rolling in pretty healthy. We're still waiting on Charles Jagasaw, but Leonard Moore is listed as a starter this week on the depth chart. I think he'll be back. And we're just rolling. We're at home, green jersey game, afternoon kickoff. Steve, what are your thoughts on this one?
Maddox Madsen, the quarterback for Boise. I'm rooting for the kid. I hope he has a good career because he's scrappy as hell, and he can make some throws, especially off platform that will surprise you. He's only 5'10", man. I just don't see how that holds up well against Notre Dame. Right, and this is a down Notre Dame defense, but I feel like we just still have too many bodies, and we're just we're faster, we're stronger, we're bigger. So that's why Notre Dame opened as 17.5 point favorites. It's now moved to 19.5 points. I don't think we have to overthink it. And this is not a Boise team to be overlooked. We know, I think anyone who's a college football fan knows very much so historically the upset capability of Boise State, and that they do show up and they're not going to not fight. But I just think that there's too many ponies in the stable for Notre Dame to be covered over the course of 4 quarters. So Notre Dame's going to score a lot. Are we going to give up a bunch on defense, or are we going to continue to lock in and have a good performance like we did last week? That's the yet to be seen. That's the test, and what I want to see.
No, go ahead, Steve. Sorry, I thought you were done.
I want to see them build off that momentum. Again, because we have this week, then we have NC State, and then it's the big one at USC. So not to look ahead too much, but it's more so just get the defense in a good rhythm, make sure they're communicating, locking things down, and don't let Boise State stay in this game too long. If you can put them away at halftime like we did against Arkansas, then then we can just coast easy and not worry about any prickly upsets.
Definitely. We'll just talking quickly about Boise State here. Of course, now that I say that, I've lost my stats page. Boise State is 3-1 on the year. They've lost to USF to open the year, which is a good team.
They've played Eastern Washington, Air Force.
A lot of feedback, Tim.
Shit, my bad.
They beat Eastern Washington, which isn't a real team. They beat at Air Force by 12, and they beat App State. So they haven't played. They've played one real team, and they lost. It was a good team they lost to, but still, it's not Notre Dame. And, to your point, Steve, you can put this away by halftime. You have to, which, I felt like Arkansas and the Texas A&M game were similar, where we had a chance to put the game away early, and against A&M we didn't, and against Arkansas we did. So hopefully that killer instinct is still there. Tim, what are your thoughts on this game?
So I wanted to apologize to all the people that have looked forward to my terrible game predictions and review tape of the other opposing team. I have not done that yet today because I just got back to the house. I don't even know what time because this time change is screwing me out, but not too long ago. So I have no idea what Boise State looks like besides the USF game. I have no idea what they've done the last 3 weeks to kind of correct that. We all saw them lose they started off ranked preseason because they went to the playoff last year. So they got the benefit of the doubt. USF is a good team. Air Force I always kind of like Air Force, even though they're always kind of middle, like top 50 kind of opponent.
That's generous.
They're always middle. They're always middle.
They're top 120.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll give you that. I really have 19.5 is so many points, even though we just beat two opponents back to back that are Power 4 opponents. And I want to say that Boise State should always be considered as a Power 4 opponent because they have that upset of capability that you said. They are always good. And their fans travel. I don't know how many blue... What the good news is they wear blue, so they're going to kind of blend in with us. We should have not done a green out for this game. Now I'm thinking about this out loud. We should just wear blue. But coming from Idaho, they're bringing all the potatoes, just like how the Irish came over in their potato boats from Ireland back in the day. Shout out to great-great-grandpa. I don't... Can this offense keep the pace? Because they're at a back-breaking pace is what it comes down to. And it's a Boise State defense that's not proven. They're not bad. They're nowhere near as bad as Arkansas or Purdue. There's no way they could be.
You'd think.
Not possible.
You don't.
It's not
we
possible.
don't really know yet. We don't really know how good they are.
I don't think their defense is as bad as ours has been. I don't think it's possible. Again, I haven't looked at no tape. So, just hunch. I'm going to say Notre Dame wins, but Boise State covers.
It's a shame they lost to USF and that they've played nobody, because this would be a game I think otherwise we'd be pretty hyped for, because it was a marquee playoff opponent. But it's just not there, and I can't. Week one, I get it. You're working out some kinks and stuff, but you got beat by USF fairly convincingly, 34-7. That's a blowout. You got blown out on the road still to your only good opponent. Notre Dame's not South Florida, guys. It just isn't. And I know they've got some talent. They've got a quarterback there. They've got some returning production on their team. They're not talentless by any means. But, look, this is Notre Dame football. And we're in a groove. We're now 2 weeks pummeling teams. 19.5, you got to cover it. The good teams win, great teams cover. I expect them to cover. In fact, as we'll get to, I have them to cover. That's a big spread, but this should be a blowout. And if it's not, we're going to have problems when we come back next week to talk about the recap.
Yeah. No, that's correct. That the expectation from here, Arkansas opened up the expectation from here on out. We know the defense can play well. We're still leaning towards bend don't break defense, but at the end of the day, we know we still have some great guys on that defensive side of the football that can, at the very least, keep most teams under 30 points. Last year, we said any game we score over 20, we're gonna win. This year, that number should be 30. With the exception of the A&M game. So just keep any team under 30, and this offense is just really dynamic, and they're going to put you in a position to win. And that's what I expect. I think we're going to give up points. I don't think we're going to give up too much, but don't be surprised if you see 2-3 touchdowns come out of the Boise State offense. But I think by the end of the game, we definitely cover possibly 2 times over. I think the offense is just, unless something drastic happens, or I don't know, it seems like they've given the keys to the kingdom to CJ Carr. You saw that he's calling checkdowns, he's changing plays at the line of scrimmage, he's reading defense, he's making plays, he's doing everything that an elite quarterback should do. And the game just seems to be coming to CJ in slow motion. And when you have a Boise State defense that's going to be looking in slow motion against CJ Carr, I don't see it. So, I don't overlook it. Play all 4 quarters, dominate all 4 quarters. Something will go wrong at some point, but how they respond to that adversity, if they can, still put them away and crush them, I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I think too, the risk of this is a trap game that you're not mentally prepared for and you come out flat. It's the green jersey game. I think we're covered there. I think that's kind of the point of having the green jersey game be this week, even though I'd rather it not be. I don't expect them to come out flat. I think the stadium's going to be looking great. I think the stadium's going to be pretty loud. I mean, Tim will be the ultimate decider. But I think this is going to... It's a lot like when we beat like Louisville onwards last year, we just started steamrolling teams, and we started getting better week after week. I think we're kind of on this path now. I expect this to be a steamrolling, and that USC game will be the ultimate, I think, test for this team, because if you can steamroll them, then I feel a lot better. Tim, what are your thoughts?
I think this is the course-setting game. So I said when we played Purdue, you can't right the ship. You can stop from sinking. Last week we proved that we've plugged all the holes that stopped from sinking. Like, and this week's going to be, okay, we're on course. And so I think this will be like a Louisville game where we don't blow them out, but we do maybe. I think they're going to control time of possession and not let us get as many snaps off as we had against Purdue and Arkansas. I do believe that, because I'm looking at their stats now, and I'm going off stats alone. Again, haven't seen tape. Their rushing total yards so far this season are 884. Their receiving yards so far this season are 1,196. So 900 yards rushing, 1,200 yards passing. It's kind of right in the wheelhouse of they're going to try and control the clock, which kind of hurts the 19.5-point spread when you talk about how many snaps is Notre Dame going to get. We could definitely score 4 touchdowns in our first 4 possessions. They score 2, though, and they cover. So it's going to come down to that. Again, I haven't seen tape. They are taking sacks.
Guys. Let's wrap this one up.
Yeah. So, Steve, why don't you go first and have Dylan text me his score prediction like he always.
I've gotten mine written.
I've got it written down.
You
two pheasants hit that dead on last week.
It's uncanny, and Dylan, let's see what you come up with. But I obviously have the Irish winning, and it's going to be 48-14. I love the chuckle. Let's hear it.
I've got this one 51-17.
Yeah, it's uncanny, dude. It's uncanny.
We see the game the same way. Tim?
I've got to really think. I actually haven't thought about this till like right now. So that being said, of all the little tiny stats I gave, I think we break. I know we break 30. I think they don't break 20, so I'm going to go 38. Wait, that means that we have a field goal, so take that back. I'm going to go 35-17.
Wow. Quick math, but I don't think you have Notre Dame covering.
I do not.
Yeah, you have it close, but no dice. Fair enough, Tim. You might be the one looking smart this week, because Steve and I are getting a little audacious with our predictions here, but this is the standard now. You've lost your first 2 games, you're going to have to blow out everybody the rest of the way. And it starts with Purdue, and then it started with Arkansas, and now it's Boise State. So we keep this moving. I'll feel better about the season, but defense has got to come through. I think it'll take a step forward again, but I don't think we'll be right where we need to be, and we'll hopefully find out by the USC game if it is where we need it to be. So, any other parting thoughts before we end this podcast, guys?
Irish is my final thoughts at this time.
Yeah, well, now that we're done cranking hogs, let's crank some Broncos.
For those of you who are listening via audio podcast, Tim's name in this studio chat right now is Hog Cranking Lord Flynn. So, he is the expert in cranking hog and cranking Bronco. So thank you guys for joining us at Horseman Pod on Twitter, on Instagram, on Blue Sky, although that's nearly dead now. Podcasts, you can find us anywhere. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, Google, any other made-up ones that you think are a good source for podcasts, like Podbox or Pirate Bay. I don't know. I'm pretty sure those are possible podcast sites. We're everywhere. You can find us on our Linktree. Horseman Pod is the key word. 5-star review if you can. That would be great. Make fun of Steve. Or just compliment us on how great we are. We're really looking forward to having you. Appreciate you. And we will see you next week. Go Irish.